Yes, thank you, Geshe. I would like to say again, welcome to everyone to this very precious opportunity to get Buddhist psychology teachings from Geshe. We are so blessed, and I'm so touched by this gathering of people from all around the world. It's amazing. Of course, most of us would know Geshe from beforehand, so I don't have to tell you how precious he is and how special a teacher we have here. But for those who are here for the first time with Geshe, I welcome you, and I hope that this will be one of the many happy returns to these teachings, which are so extremely precious. And like I said, we have 270 people signed for this course. Not everyone is here. There are people from America, for example, who cannot attend on Zoom necessarily all these sessions because of the time difference. But we have people then maybe joining in, and practically just to say that Geshe said that we will have 1.5 hours teaching and then 30 minutes questions and answers. And during the teaching time, I will unmute everyone, so you won't be able to unmute yourselves during that time. But then when it's time for questions and answers, I'll allow then you to unmute yourselves when you have a question, but please raise your hand when you have a question so that it will be easiest, that there won't be a chaos because we are so many, of course. And now, yes, so Geshe, thank you so much. This is incredible. I am extremely honored, and I still want to say on behalf of the Tara Liberation Study Group that, we are a very small group here in Finland, and this is the biggest event that we have ever arranged, and even if it's online, but still, I mean, this is usually we have 10 people in our gatherings, so that's amazing. And of course, we were very disappointed when the retreat was cancelled, but sir, can you unmute yourself maybe? Yeah. So then it turned out to be a blessing, actually, because now so many more people can benefit. Because if we would have had the retreat, of course, it would have been magnificent to have 40 people attending. But now we have so many people who will benefit from this. And I won't say anything more. I'll hand over to Geshe, and thank you again, Geshe.
Thank you so much, Mariela. Thank you so much. It is a great joy for me to be part of Tara Liberation Dharma Center, Finland, and it's so nice to see the faces of the Finnish people, and Zarina there, and Irina there. Yeah, and all the faces of the Finnish. It is such a great memory from last year to meet with amazingly cultured the people, Finland. In fact, first time, wherever I traveled, I asked this question about the people are going for annual checkup, and annual checkup people usually pay. And then I was expecting the audience in Finland to give an answer that we have to pay. And then everybody is stuck, did not really say anything. I said, why? And they said, we don't have to pay anything for the annual checkup. So this is something which is a very different culture, amazingly beautiful culture. There's a tremendous sense of warmth there. This is something which is so unique that I felt there in Finland, but of course the people inclined towards Dharma, which means that their mind is of course much more tempered, much more toned down, much more tender, calm. This is something very inspiring. So it's such a nostalgia for me to be with part of you, this group from the Finland, and you can't really imagine the amount of the effort the Mariela put to make this happen. And over the many months, she has been working on this, being very precise, meticulous, and a perfectionist. And I thought that I'm a perfectionist, but then there's somebody who's a greater perfectionist I can't really compare with. Okay, this is a great thing. And many of the old-time friends are also here, like Sumitji. It's a great joy to see you again here, and many faces which are very familiar. And of course, we may be new to each other now, but within a span of like 1 or 2 years' time, again we will become very familiar, so loving, caring, embracing to each other. And this is what it should be like. So with this in mind, what I'd like to share with you is that the 4 sessions on the Buddhist psychology, that's going to be partly technical, partly related to the practice or the implementation. And so therefore, at times it may become a little technical. I'll try my best to make it not so technical. And meanwhile, even though it can be a little technical at times, I would still suggest that try to be at the present moment. At the present moment, meaning that whatever is being said, just stay in that, and don't try to correlate with what I'm saying, with what I said before, what you think I'm going to say later on. So just be in the present moment and try to imbibe as much as possible. And then, of course, later on, during the question and answer session, you feel free to correlate with what I said before, what I'm saying, and what you think, and what you've learned before. You can just correlate to all these things and then come up with your questions. Okay, so basically we see that first we'll do a little bit of the setting a proper motivation, and then a little bit of prayers, first part, followed by a very quick meditation, a single pointed meditation, and then followed by the main teaching, followed by question answers. And the last half an hour, if the teaching they say okay, depending on the teaching, how intense the flow, to that extent, then depending on that, we'll then decide how much time to allocate for the question answer. Ideally speaking, we have half an hour for question answer at the end of every session. Okay, this is what we are for. And so first, setting a proper motivation, given that this is something to do with not just a mechanical studies, but a study where we're trying to learn to see what our mind is like and how our mind operates, on the basis how to maneuver our own mind to make our mind happier, to radiate our mind happier towards your family members and towards the people around you and the people at your workplace. In other words, how to enjoy, how to experience the happiness, and how to share this happiness expansively throughout the places around you. So this is the basic idea. With this in mind, setting a proper motivation. Okay, first visualize all the enlightened beings who really perfected in the psychology, in the empirical psychology. This is what I'm saying, how the mind works and how the mind can best be benefited, how you can receive the best of the most of the benefit from your study of the psychology, your experience of the psychology. For that matter, so visualize Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the enlightened beings, Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, in front of you, to seek blessings and inspirations from them. And how you visualize them is like visualize them as your very affectionate, loving mother, and all the beings, including you, as their children. And imagine that you come home demoralized, being bullied by elder children at the school, and your parents, the Buddhist Bodhisattvas as your parents, they're waiting to give full love, affection, attention, and embrace. The next is a Bodhicitta field. Visualize your two parents on the two sides, and all the family members, all sentient beings, including the difficult people around you. And here, imagine that you are the mother and all others are like your children. And imagine that they come home demoralized and you are there to give full of affection, attention, and embrace. And the purpose of this practice, the purpose of this coming together, the study, reflection, meditation, is to awaken the seed of perfection which exists within each one of us. The seed of perfection, perfection of love, perfection of happiness, perfection of wisdom, and perfection of power to benefit all beings. For that matter, we have to keep in mind that each one of us, we have the Buddha energy within us, seed of perfection within us. Whether you are male or female, it doesn't matter. Whether you are Buddhist or non-Buddhist, it doesn't matter. Whether you're a believer or non-believer, it doesn't matter. Everyone has this seed of perfection within each one of us. And this seed of perfection that exists within us, that is obscured by the mental defilements, are like the gold. Gold, when mixed with the soil, although the nature of the gold is to glow, but when mixed with the soil, then the glow does not happen. It doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It does exist. It does exist. It does exist, but because of the...
Geshe-la, sorry, you unmute yourself, Geshe-la.
Oh.
Sorry.
Okay, so you do not hear anything? Nothing?
Just the last sentence.
Oh.
Just about a minute or so.
Okay. Okay, never mind.
Yes, the seed of perfection. You were saying the perfection, seed of perfection, the purpose of the practice.
You just heard that. You did not hear anything before that.
All before that.
Huh?
You heard everything before that.
You heard everything before
We
that.
heard before that. We just didn't hear this last one line. Just for that 1 minute, you got muted.
Okay. Lucky then.
Yeah, sorry,
Okay.
Geshe-la. I'm really sorry. I just had to mute everyone, and that's why your microphone also went off. And now, please unmute everyone, and if everyone else can stay muted except for Geshe-la.
Okay.
Because otherwise there will be noises coming, from
Yes. I agree.
direction, and we are many people, so that's why I'm really sorry.
Yes. Okay, so the basic, I don't have to repeat. You already heard. I'm happy. Okay, so with this, the point is that the gold inside us, we all have this gold. The point is that I'm not just talking metaphorically. This is reality. Everyone has a seed of perfection within us. And when we hear about the sad news about the people committing suicide and so forth, is really very sad. For the reason that everybody has this seed of perfection within. And this just removes the mental defilements, and the Buddha energy inside, the seed of perfection within inside will become manifest, and you are forever happy. So there's no basis for suicide, there's no basis for depression and so forth. So therefore, all the people who are going through difficulties, while we empathize, is so important that we learn the psychology of ourselves, and to know the potential, the perfect potential within each one of us. If you know that, you gain conviction in this, and then there's no basis left for somebody to go through these difficult situations like depression, anxiety, and so forth. Of course, it's not that easy. So with this in mind, what should we do is that we have to learn how to get rid of the mental defilements, so that the the seed of perfection within us, known as the Buddha nature. Buddha doesn't mean somebody who is the historical Buddha. It's about when somebody becomes the true nature becomes manifest, where all the mental defilements are removed completely. At that point, the person is known as the awakened one, the fully enlightened one, awakened one. And in Sanskrit, the word is Buddha. So it is for this reason that we speak about the Buddha nature, or the seat of the awakening. Okay, and then how to do that? How to remove the mental dirt so that this goal will become manifest completely. It will become radiant in its full form is determined by to what extent you are able to remove the mental dirt. To what extent you are able to remove the dirt from the gold. So, for that matter, we have to know the antidotes or the remedies to be employed to get rid of the mental dirts. And the remedies, given that the dirts are mental state, the remedies as well should be mental states. And the remedies we see that there should be two things. One is the remedy being a mind. We should know what the mind is like. So the psychology, we have to know the psychology so well, and this psychology must be empirical psychology, so which I'm going to explain a little bit later. And then not only that, we should know what this mind is like, we should know how this mind behaves when it interacts with the outside world as its objects. How does mind behave? The behavior of the mind related to the objects with which it interacts. For that matter, objects, if we see the objects nice, our mind behaves nicely. If we see the objects very disturbing, our mind behaves very disturbing in a disturbing state. If the object is very appealing, our mind behaves very differently. So, say the objects, do they really represent how they appear to you? Do they really represent the reality, how they appear to you? For that matter, we have to know the ontological reality. One, we have to know the psychology of the subject, to know the nature of the mind, which is subject. And second, we have to know the object, which is the ontological reality. So the ontological reality, to know this, we have to know the philosophy. So the philosophy in psychology, if somebody is really working to heal one's mind, to heal others' minds, it's very important for one to know both the psychology, to know the subject, and the philosophy, to know the object. And that too, it should not be like an exaggerated philosophy or the exaggerated psychology. It should be empirical psychology and empirical philosophy. This is so important. So with this in mind, so this is the purpose. What for? We are together here. So with this in mind, let us set a proper motivation, and I hope that you all have this book, or at least the extraction of the first few pages from this book, which we're going to use for the first prayers. And these prayers not for the sake of not as what do you call it? Not as the prayer to make the Buddhist Bodhisattvas happy. It's not for that purpose. It's for the purpose for us to bring about transformation. These prayers should be looked at as a mirror on the basis of which to see what are our flaws, what are the areas that we need to work on, and so forth. So with this in mind, let's turn to page 3. Yes, okay, let's turn to page 3. And as we read these stanzas, these are not meant to, we say these stanzas and the Buddha will be very happy. This is not the idea. It is as we say these stanzas, see what are the qualities indicated there on the basis of which the Buddha Shakyamuni was praised, and see if you have some of these qualities within you. Feel the joy that you also can become the full awakened one day, provided that we exert correctly, we exert in a proper way. So whereas if you don't see that these qualities are within us, don't worry, we still have the seeds of these qualities within us, and this is not exaggeration, this is not reification, these are all the reality. And eventually we must gain conviction that I too have the seeds of these qualities. Okay, with that in mind, let's turn to page 3. It's right there. We'll say this together, and imagine that you are leading this and all sentient beings are joining you in this journey to make ourselves happier, to remove the mental defilements, to remove our miseries, anxieties, tension, depression, and to spread this love and affection towards others. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Next. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations through the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations through the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations through the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no permanence, no coming, no going, no separateness, and no sameness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas, and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seeking pacification and complete peace, who through the knowledge of past causes those helping migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience help subdue and expand varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugata, and protector, to you I make prostrations. The one who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Okay, we'll recite this mantra. This is an extremely precious mantra. Precious not in the sense that it'll bring some blessings, it'll give rise to a dramatic change in your life, bring a quality life. It is not in that form, but in the form that this mantra should remind us that we should be very pragmatic. We should be extremely realistic. That how our approach should be in line with the law of reality, the law of nature. The law of nature dictates that anything that happens today is the result of its previous causes. So the causes determine the results. So this mantra should not be seen as the miracle. It's a magic. You recite mantra 3 times and then magic will happen to you. No, it's just a reminder to us. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava. All the phenomena, particularly the phenomena of distress, anxiety, anguish, miseries, depression, they don't arise randomly, they arise from their causes. Ye dharma, these phenomena, prabhava, arise, hetu. Ye dharma hetu, hetu is the cause. They arise from the causes. Hetum tesham tathagato hyavata. Hetum, the plural form of causes. Tesham, these. Tathagato, the Buddha, the one who has gone to the ultimate, one who has gone to the thusness. Hyavatat, said. So what are these causes are taught by the Buddha? So what are these causes with the Buddha taught? Buddha did not invent these causes. Buddha did not really dictated these causes. Buddha only discovered these causes. That how the universe is operating since the time of Big Bang. How the universe has been operating is on the basis of the cause and effect relationship. Cause and effect, and the happiness that we experience are the results of causes, and the miseries that we go through, somehow they are related to our own causes, which we accumulated before. And should we be going through difficult times, these are no doubt the result of the negative causes, which we might have done in this life, or may not have done in this life, but in the previous lives. And of course the question about the rebirth comes into play. This is some different discussion. Okay, so the causes, what the Buddha indicated are the contaminated karmas, afflictions, and finally our misperception of the reality. Misperception of reality is also referred to as the ignorance. So these are the causes, and believe it or not, believe it or not, when we come to realize that it is my own misconception happening. For example, if I put on the blue glasses, invariably I will see the snow as blue. If I put on blue glasses, blue lenses, glass with blue glass, the blue glasses, then invariably I will see the whatever is white as blue. So this is it's not because the snow there is blue. It's because something's wrong with my perception. So our perception can really deceive us. Our perceptions can really create the anxiety, stress, anguish, and so forth. So what is being taught here is finally get rid of your own misperceptions, and then your miseries will come to an end. Tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirotam. Tesham chayo. These causes including misperceptions, our negative karmas, negative deeds, and our wrong thoughts, all navigated by the misperceptions, ignorance. They will come to an end. How to bring an end to these? Nirota. Nirota is a cessation. Cessation of these. These are the causes of the miseries. Evam, thus, Vadi, taught, Mahashramana, by the great seer, the great saint, referring to the Buddha. Buddha, who discovered that these can be brought to an end by igniting the light of the wisdom. Okay, so we'll recite this 3 times, and it should be a reminder for us. For me, I personally recite this every day, and I'm not expecting any miracle coming out of this mantra. And Buddha said that this mantra is so precious. Meanwhile, when I recite this, I don't recite this with the expecting miracle, but reciting this with a reminder. This to be seen as a mirror for me. Okay, look, my own misperceptions, they are responsible for all my fears. If I want to get rid of all my fears, of course, there are various ways by which to do so. Finally, the point is to get rid of my own misperceptions, ignorance. This is a great reminder for me, and it's on this basis that I try to study, reflect, and meditate on the reality to remove the veil of ignorance. Okay, let's say this 3 times together. And those of us from the Finnish last year's Finland Dorji retreat, and all of us who know how to recite this, let's say this 3 times together with a tune. And those of us who do not know how to say this, never mind, just listen to us and then join us. Join us as you can say this. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Om ye dharma hetu prabhavam hetum tesham tathagato hyavatat tesham chayo nirodha evam vati mahashramanaye swaha. Okay, the meaning of the mantra in English. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. Profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light and non-composite. Such is the nectar-like dharma I have discovered. Finding no one who can fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the woods. Okay, the next stanza is a very precious stanza. It's about what constitutes the ultimate reality. How to remove this veil of ignorance, to see the reality. The reality that we're experiencing, the reality which we are to experience after removing this veil, is beyond utterance, thought, and expression, which is unborn, unceased, and the nature of space, is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. Okay, this is what, realizing this, one becomes the omniscient one becomes the enlightened one. Okay, let's say this. Beyond utterance, thought, and expression is the perfection of wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space, is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas, of the 3 times of your obeisance. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are the nature of suffering. All phenomena are of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is peace. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha, the Guru is the source of everything wholesome. I go for refuge to the Guru. By the sound of the vibrant drum of Dharma, you liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain and give teachings until the end of the expanse of billions of aeons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations are not transferred to them. It is by teaching the truth of the suchness that the beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions to shine the light of Dharma, for all bewildered miseries gloom. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no misery, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhicitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, let us turn to page 14. Okay. Yes, page 14. Praise to Shakyamuni Buddha. As I mentioned before, as we recite this, it is not for us to make the Buddha happy by by reciting, by singing the eulogy of the Buddha, but it is to simply see what are the qualities on the basis of which the Buddha Shakyamuni is being praised, and see if you have these qualities within you, some of these qualities within you. If you do have, rejoice and see how to nurture them further. It is through nurturing these qualities that eventually you will also become a Buddha. You will also become the beacon of light, beacon of hope, beacon of, say, the compassion for all the dear sentient beings. Whereas if you see that you don't have these qualities, never mind. Still we have the seeds of these qualities within us, and see how to germinate them, how to cultivate these qualities, and see how to nurture them further, that eventually you will become Buddha. Okay, with this mind, let's recite this together. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the four destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme God of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, to you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you, or wise then, I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, wind of the best, Lord, to you I prostrate. With the supreme signs, face like a spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. Dust-free like you, the 3 worlds are not, incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to the Dhamma that pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the path to liberation, the holy feel qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, but from only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue your mind thoroughly. This is a teaching of the Buddha. A star, a visual aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, condition things as such. Through this merits may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the 4 falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the waves of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, page 31, Heart Sutra Mantra, page 31, Heart Sutra Mantra. Okay, page 31. Let us just recite the mantra, page 31. As we recite this mantra, let us keep in mind that the Buddha Shakyamuni on the vulture's peak, he was addressing us, exhorting us thus: don't remain in the fears of samsara. Come towards the ultimate happiness. And you're hearing this melodious voice of Buddha Shakyamuni, you're so inspired, so relieved, and then you proclaim this to all the dear sentient beings, your to parents and all dear sentient beings, saying, listen, this is what our compassionate teacher Buddha Shakyamuni exhorts us. Let us not remain in the fears of samsara anymore. Let us all go towards the ultimate happiness, the heaven of enlightenment, awakening, where the miseries are unheard of, and your happiness simply shines forth in all 10 directions. And everybody hearing what you're saying, they're so inspired, so happy. They join you in this mantra recitation. Okay, with this mind, let's recite this mantra 7 times together. And of course, those of you who know the meaning well, the artha is here as thus: Om Gade Gade Paragate Parasamgade Bodhisoha. Okay, go beyond, go utterly beyond, and establish your ultimate awakening. Meaning that don't remain in fears of samsara. Keep improving your mind by removing the mental dirt, and eventually awaken this seed of perfection within you to become the full awakened being, where you are freed from miseries and your happiness is infinite. Okay, let's say this 7 times together. Again, those of us who know how to recite this will recite this together. Those who do not know how to recite this, just listen to us and then join us. Eta Om Gade Gade Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha Om Gate Gate 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 Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisvaha. Okay, now we will do a meditation, a 5 minutes meditation. For this, what we do is that I'll give a quick instruction on the meditation. Just for information, meditation, there are 2 kinds of meditation. One is known as analytical meditation, which involves analysis, and the other one is single-pointed meditation. Analytical meditation and single-pointed meditation. The idea is that what we learned thus far today is that finally we want to get rid of our miseries. We want to experience the happiness, infinite happiness, for yourself and for all beings. For that matter, and we don't have to look for this happiness. We don't have to look for this freedom from the miseries, freedom from the anxiety anywhere else. It is just within us. It is there. The only thing is that it remains hidden, obscured by the mental dirt, mental defilement. And what we learned earlier, before this, the recitation, was that these mental dirts, remove them, and this brilliant, beautiful gold, diamond-like the Buddha nature within us will become manifest, and all your miseries will be gone, and your happiness is infinite. So, to get rid of these mental defilements, we learned that these mental defilements somehow they are rooted to the ignorance and the subtle stains of the ignorance. An example of the ignorance and the subtle stains, the distinction is that, like the salted garlic, if you smash a garlic in my cup, and you say, okay, I don't eat garlic, who smashed garlic in my cup? And then you owned up, you said, I'm very sorry, I did it. And then you wash it so well. You wash it. After washing it, there's no salted garlic left there. You just try to put your finger there, fingers your hand there, nothing is there. You smell it, it still smells garlic. So, one is a solid garlic and the other is the smell of the garlic. So, the solid garlic is like the manifest ignorance, and the smell of the garlic is the subtle stains which obstruct this beautiful Buddha nature within us to manifest completely. So, with this in mind, how to get rid of these two things, the ignorance and all its offshoots, and the subtle sense of that is by resorting to a very powerful remedy. And what is that remedy? That remedy is none other than the wisdom to see the reality in its final, the subtlest form. So this wisdom is like the light. It's like a light. If it is dark, you cannot read the books. So we have to introduce light. You bring a light there, and this light should have two qualities. One, this light should be extremely bright. If the light is very feeble, again, it doesn't serve the purpose for you to read the books. So it must be very bright, number one. Number two, even if the light is very bright, but if the light is flickering, it does not serve the purpose for you to read the books. So it should be very steady. So this light should have two qualities. One is that it should be very bright, and then number two is that it should be very steady. So for the brightness, we need to activate our intelligence. Activate our intelligence by learning more, study, reflection, meditation. All these three things are required. Analytical meditation. So this analytical meditation is to sharpen our mind. Our mind must be very sharpened in order to become enlightened, in order to remove the mental dirt. And then this light, not only that it should be very bright, it should be very steady. So steadiness will be given rise to by the single pointed meditation. So what we're doing here just now for 5 minutes is to train in the single pointed meditation, and then what we are studying of the psychology, and then later on maybe we never know about the emptiness, ontological reality, which we discussed, the subjective knowledge of the mind, the psychology, and the object to know the ontological reality, which is the philosophy, emptiness concept. So this, in fact now, Tibet House, we conduct so many of these programs. Of course, many of them are going to be dedicated for the wisdom of emptiness. So you can join there. This one, and then His Holiness the Dalai Lama gives lots of interactions, the interactions happening nowadays, and let us make it a point that we don't miss those opportunities, because listening to His Holiness is going to be very different. His Holiness is all coming from his own experience of the wisdom of emptiness, of compassion, is all coming of fast learning, plus his experiential sharing, which adds to the quality and the beauty. So therefore, I would really recommend all of us to be part, to make sure not to miss the opportunity of the interactions that His Holiness is nowadays they're having with the public all over the world through the Google Meet and so forth. Okay, so with this in mind, what we are doing right now here is the single pointed meditation and the study of the psychology, study of the philosophy. They are to ignite, they are to ignite the brightness of this, the wisdom, the light of the wisdom. And for this single point of meditation, I'm going to give a quick instruction, seeing that there are some people who may be new to meditation. It's good to know to have the proper instruction, because without the proper instruction, then the meditation can have adverse effects rather than benefits. So for this matter, for the proper motivation, the meditation, a single point of meditation, shamatha meditation, 4 points to keep in mind. 4 points to keep in mind. One is a body posture. Then number 2 is the focal point, and of course I'll explain each one of them. Focal point. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. Number 4 is applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Let me repeat this. Number 1, body posture. Number 2, focal point. Number 3, identify the errors of meditation. Number 4, applying the remedies to overcome the errors. Okay, number 1, body posture. Body posture. See if you can sit cross-legged, even if not, but this is not mandatory. You can sit cross-legged, or you can sit very comfortably on a chair. That's fine. And then unless you have backache problem, I would highly suggest that you don't lean against the support. Just keep your body upright. This is so important. Finally, what we say is that body position will determine the channels of the body straight, and the straight channels of the body determines the flow of the energy within smoothly. Smooth flow of the energy determines your the supple, the serviceable mind to be supple, mind to be serviceable and pliant. So this mind is going to be employed for meditation. So therefore the body posture makes a whole difference. And next, they say your eyes should not be closed, half open, 45 degrees cast down. Breathe normally, and keep your lips and the teeth in their natural course. Breathe normally. Don't force your breath. Don't control your breath. And then right hand on your left hand, and the tips of 2 thumbs joining, forming a triangle. Place the 2 hands on your laps in a restful state. Okay, this is your body posture. Next is the focal point. What are you going to meditate on? There are so many versions of focal points. What we're going to do here is a very simple one. Just focus your mind close between your nose and the upper lip, and meanwhile count the breath. Just count the breath. Breath in, breath out. Cycle 1, breath in, breath out. Cycle 2, this is what we're going to do. Just count the breath. Just get rid of all other thought processes. Okay, this is your focal point. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. What can be the mistakes? What mistakes can happen when we meditate? There are 2 things. Number 3 and number 4, these 2 are so important for all of us. Number 3 and number 4. Oftentimes people go into meditation without being mindful of number 3 and number 4. Number 3 is identifying the errors of meditation. What are the errors of meditation? Twofold. One is mental laxity, and the other one is mental excitement. Mental laxity is the inactivity of the mind, where your mind becomes passive, sluggish, and then the sinking and the heaviness and the lethargic, and the mind becomes, you feel the torpor. This is the one problem of the laxity. Other one is the overactivity of the mind, which is mental laxity, where the mind starts to just hover around or get scattered here and there. These are the 2 errors. Should any of these 2 things happen, we make sure that we apply the remedies to overcome the errors. And the remedies twofold. Number 4, remedies twofold. One is introspection, and the other one is mindfulness. Introspection is once in a while just keeping an eye on your own mind to see what your mind is doing, whether your mind is meditating, or when your mind is distracted, or your mind is sleeping. This is very important for us to check on our mind. This is introspection. Once with the introspection you sense your mind is distracted or in a lax state, then apply the mindfulness. Mindfulness is like the rope to bring the mind back to the intended object of the meditation. Okay, 5 minutes. Ready? incident. Tikamero. Tigare. Kekati Sair. Record the air. And it is near. Ah. Cosmos. Oh. This is a problem of the disease of the perfectionist. So I want everything to be perfect, and then now it's counterproductive. So I said, okay, let's go back to the imperfection. At least something is there. Yeah. And Mariela has this perfectionist. I don't know whether for Mariela this is not a disease. For me, it's a disease.
It is a disease for me, not for you, Geshe.
Okay, send this. Send. Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry for keeping you waiting, all of you, both the Zoom viewers as well as the YouTube viewers. Very sorry for keeping you waiting. Okay, the 4 sessions. The 4 sessions we're going to have. This is going to be quite intense. And meanwhile, keep in mind that at the end of all the sessions, we have question answers. This is very important. And okay, let's say that, yes.
We have 5 sessions actually.
Okay, that's good. That's better.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, good.
Yes.
Now I can be more relaxed. Okay. Thank you. Okay. So we see that we're going to study the Buddhist psychology. And in what way so basically, to be very honest, I am not going to represent any psychology of any other traditions. I'm speaking purely from the Buddhist psychology point of view. Meanwhile, we have to keep in mind the criteria that I like all of us to fulfill with is that it must be listened to, it must be reflected upon on the basis of the empiricism. Empiricism, that it must be empirical in nature. Empirical meaning that it should be experiential. You must experience it. What I'm saying, see if it really reflects your thinking. That, okay, if that can be experienced by you, this is the psychology that we are studying. We are not studying anything else which has nothing to do with our empirical experience. This is what we should not forget. With this in mind, let me begin by saying that all of us, the Mariela told me that there are about like 200 something number of the people who registered for this intense course on Buddhist psychology. And then all of you, as particularly from Europe, you must have got up so early. Frizla, you must have got up very early and then for this course. Okay, and then all of us, the Finland, the France, the Spain, all of us, and Israel, you must have got up so early. Or from the Indians, no problem. Okay. So another point is that why did you get up so early? Why did you just let us reflect? Let us think about this. Why did you get up so early? So because that we want to take part in this program. So from this, there's something there within us which drives us. Otherwise, some of you must be getting up only at like 8 o'clock, whereas today you are at 7 o'clock right there in front of your laptop. What made you to do that? This is a question. So this is what is that agent that drives us to engage in these activities? Okay. There's one agent there within us which we call as I'm not talking about the non-empirical realities. I'm talking about empirical reality, something which we can experience. There's some agent there inside us. We call it mind, we call it consciousness, whatever. There's something which is inside us, and that is the one that for the time being, let me call it mind. This is something very strange. This mind, this is the one which is the most important thing in this universe. Your mind is the most important thing in this universe for you, with respect to you. Your mind is the most important thing. And because that, the activity of that, the function of this mind decides whether you are happy, whether you are unhappy, how good you are in public relation, or how good you are in Instagram, how good you are in the WhatsApp to ask for the likes, and so forth. So it is your mind which decides, or whether you're unhappy, depressed, anxiety, coronavirus, anxiety, I'm not happy, I'm always locked inside my house. Okay, so there's something there inside which decides you are happy, you are unhappy. That is the agent which is empirical, which you can experience. You may not be able to articulate it, which drives us which drives us in all our activities to make us happy, to make us not happy. So this is the agent that we're going to study, the study of the psychology, Buddhist psychology. Why I'm saying Buddhist psychology is because that the Freudian psychology, Sigmund Freud, his psychology talks about the things which the ordinary people may not be able to articulate, we may not be able to experience. Whereas the Buddhist psychology is something which we can all empirically experience, and understanding that, from there we go higher to see the subtle nuances of this agent, this mind. So how I like to begin this talk is by saying that this mind, on the one hand, this is the most important thing, and on the other hand, this is the most vague phenomenon. The phenomenon which we cannot articulate what it is, which we find it so difficult to articulate what it is. Yet it is the one which determines whether I'm happy, not happy, whether they say now the whole world is going through turmoil. For example, say the coronavirus. Whole world is shut down. The trillions of dollars collapse because of the coronavirus. This is the reality. And everybody is affected. Everybody is affected. And my job is to listen to the people. Okay, usually I'm busy in some other ways. Now I'm busy in another way. Today, otherwise, usually by this time I'm in Finland. I'm meeting with the Finnish people. I'm talking to them. I'm listening to the very challenging questions from the Vili and the other people. So this is what otherwise I would do. Now I'm busy in another way, because I have to receive calls. I have to listen to people for like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. Oh, I have this problem, I have that problem. Then I would say yes. And then, so some people say that I'm not getting the ice cream nowadays. So look, what I'm saying is that there is one agent there inside us, which determines who we are. And then and people are so scared. Why scared? What is that agent that feels a fear? That feels a fear. And everywhere some problems there. Everywhere. Politicians, business people, employers, employees, and even the daily wagers. Everyone is going through difficulties. This is reality. And some people who are already who are pensioners, or who are already the pensioners who already
The retired people.
Retired. Thank you. The people who are retired, even they are also unhappy. Retired, they are also unhappy because they worry over their sons, daughters, granddaughters, grandsons. They have their problems. Everybody has the problem. Everybody has the problem. And what do you mean by problem? I don't want that problem, but it's happening. This body is the same. This body was the same when you were happy. But there's something inside which is different now. What is that? That is your mind. That is your mind. That is the empirical reality. This is the most important thing in this universe with respect to you. This is the most important thing. So because of this, now the coronavirus vaccines are coming up. Coronavirus medicines are coming up. Some people claim that this is the vaccine now. This is the tablets now for the coronavirus. And some said, no, you don't have a trial. You did not do the human trial. So why? People expecting these things because there's an agent inside which does not feel comfortable, which feels a fear. That is the mind which we are studying. Yet, very strange. When we try to articulate what this mind is, we cannot articulate it. It's so difficult to articulate this. It is because of this that many of the neuroscientists, hardcore neuroscientists, they say that this mind, what you call as the mind, is not really there. They go in another the dimension. They say it's just a brain. And then they say the brain. And then they do know that there are some complications which cannot be explained purely on the basis of the brain. They do know that complications are there which cannot be explained purely on the basis of the brain. And they also have the fear. What they talk about the brain, yes, it's just a brain, but when the quantum was invading closer and closer your territory, then they're also in fear. Again, there's a fear there inside everyone. So this mind, what is this mind? So from this scenario, what we can see is that this mind, this is the most important thing which determines who we are. Number one. Then number two, then this is very intricate reality. This mind is a very intricate reality which the ordinary people cannot articulate. So it requires a very specialized study and reflection. So for this matter, the Buddhist psychology plays a very important role to help us identify what this mind is like, and then eventually see what it is like, the function of this mind, activities of this mind, which makes us so disturbed. At one point, when this activity is more smooth, your mind feels so calm, tender, and happy. So how does this mind operate? Operation of the mind. One, the nature of the mind. Number two, the operation of the mind. Once you know that so well, then the next question is to discover having discovered what this mind is, then you see that, wow, this is the wonder. This is an incredible treasure. This mind is an incredible treasure. How? Just let us imagine we go to a shop which sells statues. Let's say that there are just the statue of Jesus Christ, very beautiful statue of Mary, statue of Buddha, statue of Mahatma Gandhi, statue of Martin Luther King, and statue of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, statue of Mother Teresa. Wow, I like to buy this, I like to buy this, I like to buy this. And the statue of Hitler, and the statue of, this, that, and so forth. Right? Oh no, I don't want this. Even this is for free. No, I don't want it. Even if it's for free, I don't want it. Later on, you discover that all these statues are made of diamonds. Then you don't want to say that I don't want this statue. Even be a Hitler statue, but it's made of diamond. It's so precious. Likewise, our mind which determines some people as Hitler, some people as His Holiness the Dalai Lama, some people as this, that, and so forth. Okay, so I don't want to go too much into politics. So this, that, and so forth. So there is actually the mind decides what the person is like. Mother Teresa and so forth. It's the mind decides. They will say the what? Okay, at the most I can say Hitler. That's fine. Okay, Hitler. These are all decided by the mind. But the true nature of this mind, which makes Hitler, which makes Mother Teresa, if we check, we say the material is the diamond. In both cases, the material is the diamond. It's beautiful. It's amazing. It's amazing. So when the material, the diamond, which is shaped in the form of a Hitler statue, then people don't like it. Okay, I don't want the statue. I don't want the statue. And then you demolish the statue. Right? Okay. So basically, people see just a superficial reality. They don't see the deeper reality. When they see the deeper reality, we see that everything is beautiful. But we have to acknowledge the fact that what is on the surface unattractive, that we have to learn how to tackle it. We don't just say that, okay, His Holiness the Dalai Lama puts it so beautifully. So His Holiness talks about compassion all the time. And at one point, somebody asks His Holiness, if this is how we behave, compassion, then the people take advantage of us. So how to deal with such people who take advantage of our compassion, who abuse our compassion? His Holiness says that if a mad dog comes, don't say compassion, run away. Right? Run away. Because mad dog doesn't know your compassion, run away. So likewise, on the superficial level, where the people start, abusing all these realities, we have to know how to tackle these. But deep inside, in a deeper reality, we have to know that everything has the beautiful nature of the clarity, the purity, the radiance, luminosity of the mind. So this is so precious. So only if we study the deeper realities of this mind, the psychology, particularly the way presented by incredibly great legendary masters of the Nalanda, erstwhile Nalanda University, we see that we can unfold many treasures. And then say, whether you're happy, okay, if you're happy, you're happy. Even if you're unhappy, you can see that you can discover the beautiful, the Buddha nature inside us, beautiful, the treasure inside us. If you're sad, beautiful treasure within us. If you, in all cases, we see that the beautiful treasure within us. So the way I presented earlier, our mind behaves in a very different way. Sadness is something, the same mind behaving in one way when it encounters with one particular object. And the mind, elation is again the same mind behaving in another way when you encounter with another object. So a mind assumes different states depending on the object. So when we see that, we're looking at your own mind. When you say that this mind is so beautiful, the mind will instantly change its behavior. We'll see the soothing effect of the mind. The mind will feel the calmness. The mind will feel the incredible tranquility, the greatest of the tranquility which we can possibly imagine. So with this in mind, the next question is, okay, if we know this, if we unfolding the true nature of the mind, it gives such wonder. This is real magic happening, whereas we have to begin from the scratch. We don't fly directly. We have to begin from the scratch. If we don't begin from the scratch, if we just think that, okay, the mind is like this, if I directly take you there, then nobody's going to benefit. You will not be benefited. Your miseries will remain the same. Your coronavirus problem, the fear will remain the same. Nothing will affect. Just listening to the talk, you will have a calm and peaceful mind for 2 hours. The moment you finish that, you'll go back to zero, square one. So therefore, what is important is that we have to know from the scratch to penetrate the subtlest reality of what this mind is like, the beautiful treasure of the mind. So for that, what we have to know is, what is mind? This question. What is mind? We have to begin from there. And many years ago, I was in a university, in a very prestigious university. And I don't want to disclose what this university is, somewhere in the world, not in India. In this university, I met with a HOD of the Buddhist Studies Department. It's a very prestigious university. And he shared me about in his department, there is the research going on, research on the neuroscience, contemplate the neuroscience, with the electrodes, with the fMRI imaging and so forth, with the meditation. Oh, I was extremely inspired. I told him that that's amazing. We must try to look for subjects meaning people who you're going to do the experiment on. The subjects who can meditate on emptiness, who can meditate on the mind. And it's very important for people to distinguish what the mind is, what the brain is. And the HOD said that, in fact, this is a very abstract subject, mind. I was quite shocked because he is the head of the department of the Buddhist Studies Department, and he's saying that mind is very abstract. We cannot really, identify what the mind is like different from the brain. I was totally shocked. Then I tried to explain to him how the mind is different from the brain. I was explaining to him more in private discussion. Deliberately, my host left to keep us to have private conversation. And then I explained how the mind can be seen as different from the brain. And that too scientifically, that too empirically, I would say, not scientifically, I would say empirically, how these two can be seen as distinct. And then he did not comment at all. After this discussion, then he said that today I heard something very different. I never heard it before. How the mind is different from the brain. So this is very important. What we are learning, as I said earlier, the mind is the function of this mind. This mind, I can say that Two, the nature of the mind and the function of the mind. The function of the mind really is like the current of the water. Current of water to take you anywhere it likes. So some of us, we have different hairstyles. I have no hair, and some have beautiful hairs. Some have, so our hairstyles is determined by again this mind. And some of you sit in one position, others in other positions. This is all determined by your mind. Your mind determines everything. In fact, what you're doing, this is all dictated by your mind. That agent known as a mind. One, that is the function of your mind. Now the other thing is that this function of mind determines the whole, in fact, the whole world, if not the universe. The universe, we can discuss it, the second phase, because this is something non-empirical related to with respect to what we are experiencing now. This world, small world, that is all determined by this mind. Number one, function of the mind. The next, the nature of the mind. Nature of the mind is so hidden, so obscure, so intricate that we cannot possibly see it unless and until we really try to look for it in a likewise intricate, sophisticated ways. Okay, this is what we have to keep in mind. So with this, what is the mind? This question. Given that this is a very sophisticated subject, what the mind is, therefore, it's very important for us to define what the mind is. Define what the mind is, not expecting the mind to be something tangible, like the pen, like the paper, or like the book. Not expect the mind to be like that. If it is as tangible as books, the physical bodies, there should be no complication in identifying what the mind is. And many people, they say that there's no mind, while the mind is the one which determines the function of which determines the whole world. But people, because of the intricacies of this mind, people find it very difficult to say that the mind exists, that the mind is like this, like that, and so forth. So what is mind? Again, when I try to define what a mind is, let us make it a point that we really try to understand what it is. Don't try to take it for granted that, okay, what he said, it must be correct. It must be, we must get a conviction that, okay, this is what I accept. This is what I can accept. This is what I cannot accept. So this is what the sense of discrimination, sense of the distinguishing, that ability must be there within us. Okay, what is mind? To put it very simply, mind is defined as clear knowing by the incredibly great teachers of the Nalanda Monastic University from the 1st century AD till like today, till like 13th century AD. And then in Tibet, in China, this tradition was maintained, and all these great teachers, they really manifested their experience of what the mind is, clear and knowing. Clear knowing. Okay. And I don't want to go too detailed into this. Instead, I'll try to explain what a clear is, what a mind is, and then we'll go into the classifications, and then later on the practical aspects of that. How, by knowing the functions of the mind, how by knowing the functions of the mind, we can change the course of our mind from tension into happiness, calmness. And then after that, a little bit about the nature of the mind, not just the function of the mind, but the nature of the mind, and see what that nature of the mind is like. Two things. So the mind is defined as clear in knowing. Clear. The clear. This is very important. If possible, whether you are interested in it or not interested, it doesn't matter. At least give an attempt. Let us give an attempt to see what this is like, clear knowing what it is like. After this class, or after today and tomorrow's class, then you can do your own analysis, do your own reflections, meditation, to see, at least feel this clear knowing. This is very important. At least find that. And then once you get it, then try to go deeper into it, and then try to finally have the remote control. Okay, the world is decided by your mind. What the world is like is decided by your mind, and your mind should be decided by your own remote control. At the moment, the mind, the remote control of your mind is not in you. The remote control of your mind is not with you. The mind acts in its own ways, like a naughty boy, young naughty boy. Where the parents go decides by the child. No, where the child goes should be decided by the parents. So, how the world is operating around you is decided by your mind. How the mind operates should not be decided by itself. It should be decided by you. So the remote control of your mind, the function of your mind, must be in your hand. This is what we're going to learn. As of now, why we are unhappy, why we sometimes experience happiness, instantly it just slips into unhappiness. Why? Because the remote control of your mind is not in your hand. So we are going to learn how to finally have the remote control of your own mind in your own hand. Okay, the clear knowing. Number one, the clear. Okay, so this is the exercise which last time we did as a part of the teaching for the Israeli group, Dhamma Friends of Israel. We're going to do it very quickly here, and then following that we'll go into the divisions, the functions of the mind. Okay, let us first try to sit comfortably, upright, sit upright. Sit upright. Okay. Sit upright. Okay. Just try to observe who you are. Try to observe who you are. I'm Dorji, I'm Maria, I'm Alexei, I'm Chambagelek. Okay, I'm Aki, I'm Sumed. Okay, just observe who you are. Okay, good. Now, while you observe, most likely, some of you observe the self related to the body. Some of you must have observed it related to some kind of experience, not really as a body, but some kind of experience. Whatever, it doesn't matter. You have started the journey of exploring what this mind is like. This is so important. With this in nature, the next thing that I like to ask is again, go back to the meditation. Go back to the meditation and think of a Buddha statue, a beautiful Buddha statue. Just think of a beautiful Buddha statue. Very serene, calm Buddha statue. Okay, good. If I ask you, okay, good, okay, don't go to permanent, eternal meditation. Okay, come out, right? Okay, if I ask you, what do you think? You will say that I was thinking of the Buddha statue. Buddha statue. My question to you, are you serious? Did you really think about the Buddha statue? Did you really think of a Buddha statue? You said, yes. But what actually came to you was the image of the Buddha statue, not the real Buddha statue. Image of the Buddha statue. It's not the real Buddha statue. Buddha statue made of gold, made of the metal. No, it's just an image. It's not a metal. It's not a gold. Just it's an image. I did not ask you to think of the image of the Buddha statue. I asked you to think of the Buddha statue. But you thought about the image of the Buddha statue. Okay. So the point is that you cannot evade the image of the Buddha statue when you think of the Buddha statue. Let us not forget this. So there are two things. What came to your mind, what appears to your mind, and what your mind is thinking. There are two things. What appears, the object that appears to your mind, the subject, what the subject is thinking. Subject and object. What the subject is thinking and what the object appears to your mind. The subject is thinking of the Buddha statue, and the object that appears to you is the image of the Buddha statue, not the Buddha statue. Let's not forget that. So what appears is the image, not the real Buddha image, Buddha statue. But what you're thinking is the Buddha statue. Okay, now with this in mind, what appears to you is the image of the Buddha statue. So that image of the Buddha statue, let us not forget this. This is a very important point. Very important point before we go further into the classifications. The image of the Buddha statue. Let's say the mirror can have the image of your face. In the morning when you're brushing your teeth, for sure you are in front of the mirror. So in the mirror, image of your face is formed. But after taking shower, the hot water shower, then you look at the mirror. Unless it is a Japan-made mirror, there's the vapor there. Japan-made, there's no vapor. Otherwise, right, vapor is there. You cannot see the image. Why you cannot see the image? Because the surface is blocked by the vapor. Surface is not clear. Clear and knowing. Clear and knowing. We are talking about the definition of mind. So when the surface is not clear, when the surface is covered, surface of the mirror is covered by the vapor, after taking shower, particularly with the hot water, taking shower, then the vapor obscures the mirror. So your face, the image of your face cannot be formed on the mirror. Which means that in order for the image to be formed there, the surface of the mirror must be very clear. So this mirror is the metaphor for a mind. The surface of our mind must be very clear in order to have the reflection of the Buddha statue. So when you think of the Buddha statue came to you very clear. So that Buddha statue is not the Buddha statue, it's the image of the Buddha statue. It's a reflection of the Buddha statue. So this image of the Buddha statue should come only the surface on which that is formed. That surface is clear. That surface is none other than your own mind. It's not an external surface, it's the internal surface of your mind. So this is the mind on which the image is formed, image of the Buddha statue is formed. So likewise on the surface of the water body, in order to have the reflection of the moon, the surface of the water must be clean. If that is covered by the leaves and so forth, the moon reflection cannot be formed. So in order to have the moon, when the moon reflection is formed very clearly, which means that the surface of the water body is very clean. So our mind must be very clear. It must be very clear in order to have the reflection, and the reflection is formed so well. Formed so well, so the surface on which the reflection is formed must be very clear. That surface is none other than your mind. So your mind must be very clear. So that is the clear part of the mind, clear. And this clarity, the clear and knowing, clear, has two connotations. Number one, clear in terms of being cleared of the obstructions, being cleared of the obstacles, obstructions. And the other connotation, the clarity, is in terms of, Tibetan word is selva. Selva has two connotations. One is which is clear of the obstacles or obstructions, and the other is clear is in the context of the luminosity. So in the night, even if I show you this beautiful flower, some of you must have seen this beautiful flower so many times. Okay, the Lorena, you saw this beautiful flower so many times? Yeah. Okay, Edith. Okay, so you have seen this. Some of you must have seen this beautiful flower so many times. So this flower, if it is dark, if there is no light there, even if I hold this flower, you cannot see this flower. Why? Because in order for you to see this flower, there must be a luminosity. There must be something to illuminate this, some source of light which illuminates the flower to see it as beautiful. So without this source of light, this flower, however beautiful it is, you cannot see that. Likewise, the Buddha statue, the image of the Buddha statue, however beautiful it is, without the source of light, you cannot see that. But the fact that when you close your eyes, when you think about the Buddha statue, image of the Buddha statue came to you so nicely, which means that there is something which illuminates the Buddha statue, the image of the Buddha statue within. There's luminosity. That luminosity is not external luminosity, it's the internal light. It's the internal luminosity, luminosity of the own mind. So this mind, not only that it is clear of the obstacles, it also has the ability to illuminate these images that are formed to this mind. So this is the meaning of the clarity, the clarity in terms of being freed from the obstacles, and in terms of its ability to illuminate things. Then the other side is knowing, clarity, clear, and knowing. Now knowing, let's say the mirror, however clean the mirror is, however beautiful the images, however clear the images are formed on a mirror, but the mirror does not have the ability to know that the image is formed. If I ask you, how many of you know that the image of the Buddha, the Buddha statue came to your mind? That came to your mind. How many of you know that? When I ask you to meditate, you all know that. So what is that agent? That is your mind. There is a mind which the neuroscientists cannot see, which you can see. So that is a mind which knows that not only the image is formed, but you know that the image is formed. So clear and knowing that this agent has two aspects. One is that it has the clarity, it is so clear, and it has the luminosity there, plus it has the knowing element, cognitive awareness element. So with this in mind, we should be able to explore, we should be able to look at what this agent is like, which is clear, which is knowing, and clarity. Some great practitioners, lifelong practitioners, what they do is that they just focus on this clarity of the mind, just focus on this, and then the clarity becomes more and more vivid, and experience the true nature, the diamond inside will become manifest. This is one part. The other practitioners, what they do is they just focus on the awareness, the mere awareness nature of this mind, the knowing nature, just the mere knowing nature of this mind, try to experience that, and then on that basis, try to subdue all the mental dirts. So the great practitioners, they employ different techniques to see inside, to discover this, the diamond, which is the basic substrate for all the minds of the beings, whether somebody is Hitler, whether somebody is His Holiness the Dalai Lama, or whether somebody is Mother Teresa, or Jesus Christ, or the Buddha, whoever you are, your mind is nothing. The substrate of these minds is all the diamond like the beautiful luminosity, the luminous clear light of the mind. This is the basic substrate of all our minds. Okay, so okay, that's far. Let's say any questions? So this is already 12:39. We have another 21 minutes. We have 21 minutes. Any questions, Mariela?
Yes, Geshe. So if anyone has a question, please put your hand up, or I don't see any hands up yet, at least.
If no questions, then I will go further.
Yes, maybe there are no questions as of yet.
Gorilla has a question. Gorilla.
I have a question. Is that okay?
Yes.
Of course.
Can you hear me?
Identify yourself. What's your name?
I am Shaked from Israel.
Okay.
Yes.
Yes? Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So first of all, really thank you so much. An honor to be here. My question is this clear knowing. Is my mind always clear knowing? Is my mind, is it always clear knowing? Or is it more clear, less clear? I mean, when I have this mental defilement, is it still clear, the mind?
Okay, this is a very good question. Thank you so much. Okay, it's a very good question. Okay, should I give the answer or I will wait for somebody to give me the answer so that I can be spared? Okay, thank you. This is a good question. Okay, let's say that what is this? This is 52 years old hand. Hey, this is 52 years old hand, right? Okay, so now what is this hand like? Is it aggressive hand or a very gentle, tender hand? It depends. You're getting it? It depends. It's the same hand, like this, but like this, very aggressive. Like this, very tender. It's the same hand, but behavior very differently. Behaviors differ, but the substance-wise is the same. Likewise, Hitler statue, Jesus Christ statue, Buddha statue, the shape is different, but the substance is same. All the substance is all diamond. Substance is all diamond. So this hand, whether it's clear or not clear, when it's so rough, if the clarity of my hand, if it is the smoothness of my hand, if it is say like 60% smooth, move like this, still is 60%. Stop, tender, still 60%. So clarity remains the same, only the activity changes. When the activity changes, it can become ignorant, it can become anger, it can become attachment, it can become fearful. Whereas when the activity is said, this is the activity of the fear, same, if it tones down, it subsides, then we said, oh, now the fear is gone. Actually, it's the same mind, same clarity, same degree of clarity, right? Okay, say it is like diamond, and with the diamond, we write, I am not diamond. Right? We use diamond material to write, I am not a diamond, but it's diamond. So therefore, I'm angry, but the material is very compassionate. Material is so full of wisdom. Right? We use the diamond material, diamond ink to say that I'm not diamond. We use the ink to say that I'm not ink. It is ink. So therefore, the mind forever remains clear. The mind forever remains knowing nature. Meanwhile, they say sometimes when we eat heavy food, particularly after lunch, then we have the class, then our eyes become smaller, then our mind becomes more dull. Okay, it is like overall activity is dull, but the substance of each of these dull minds, they are so pure, so clear, and are full of awareness. Okay, good. More questions? Okay, Mariela. Okay, yeah, Gorilla. Ask us.
Thank you so much, Geshe-la. Such wonderful teachings. Geshe-la, I just wanted to ask, when you're speaking of the mind as clear and knowing, is this true for all sentient beings, including animals, or is there a distinction between humans in this regard and other animals?
Okay, so this again the same thing. Say the diamond, the material of the diamond, made in the form of insect, made in the form of dog, made in the form of Buddha. All the materials are same, right? So likewise, even the animal's mind, the substance of the mind is just the same. There's no difference. Clear knowing is just the same. Degree of the clarity 100%. Degree of knowing 100%. This is the same. The only thing is that, say, just for information, that 11th century AD, there was a great teacher by the name the Adisha Dibangara Shirigana, Choja Pande Adisha Dibangara Shirigana, and then there was one, the teacher of Jismilarepa, the great Marpa Losawa. This great teacher, Marpa Losawa, they happened to have this power say the power to eject his mind from his body, and get into the body, his mind eject into another body. He has this power. This is known as the power of the transference of the consciousness. He has this power. So the Adisha Devangara Shirajnana, two of them met on the way. Adisha Devangara Shirajnana coming from India to Tibet, and the Jesu Marpa going from Tibet to India. So on the way they met, and Jesu Marpa heard about the greatness of Adisha Devangara Shirajnana, and Adisha Devangara Shirajnana heard the incredible the powers of the Jesu Marpa. So Adisha Devangara Shirajnana, from the body language of Jesu Marpa, the respect accorded by Jesu Marpa to him, then Adisha Devangara Shirajnana asked him. It is believed that Adisha Devangara Shirajnana was a very serious, always have a very serious look, a serious outlook, and he never smiled, he never laughed. Then he asked Jesu Marpa if he can perform this miracle in front of his eyes. Then Jesu Marpa said, okay, yes, given that you are such an enlightened being, so whatever you ask me, it is my honor. It is my honor to make it happen to you, to perform it. And then Jesu Marpa, he asked his students to bring a corpse. So finally they could find only a corpse of a sheep, not of a human being. Then Jesu Marpa, what he did was that he went to do deep meditation. And then this is not just a ordinary meditation, but a very deep meditation where meditation ejects his mind out of his body. Then he ejected his mind, and his mind entered into the sheep, and the sheep got up. The sheep got up, and the sheep got up, and then the Jesu Marpa's body collapsed. Then the sheep in front of Adisha Devangara Shirajnana, the sheep started to dance. The sheep never dance otherwise. So, for the first time, Adisha Devangara Shirajnana, he could not control his laughter. So it is said that Adisha Devangara Shirajnana, in his life, he laughed only 3 times. One was when he saw a sheep dancing in front of him. And then the sheep, after making the dance, the sheep collapsed, and Jesu Marpa's body revived. So then Jesu Marpa said that he could feel the dullness of his mind now. He could feel the dullness of his mind now because he entered into the body of an animal. So animals' mind, because of the body structure, the mind automatically has to take that shape of little dullness. So he could feel that effect of the dullness of the animal. This is what he said. So this is what happens. Yes, animals, there's no difference. Only the activity is different. Activity is less active, less sophisticated as the mind of the human beings. In terms of substance, it's the same. What you gorilla? Yes. Who? Irit. Irit has a question?
Yes.
Okay. Yes, Irit?
Hi. You spoke earlier, you gave an example about seeing an image of the Buddha. You emphasized that we just see the image of the Buddha, and you connected it to seeing it through a mirror covered with fog or steams. But I thought that even if we clear the mirror from these steams, we still see the image of the Buddha in our mind. We can never see the actual statue. We just see the image reflected in our mind. Is it?
Yes, correct. Yes.
Okay.
So what's the question?
So I just wanted to make sure that we still will see the image, not the actual object, even if we have the mirror very clear.
Okay, this is a good question. Say, for this we have to go through the main body of the psychology class, where this clear knowing that we are talking, the mind that we are talking about, is of 2 kinds. One is sensory, and the other is mental consciousness. Sensory and mental consciousness. So with the sensory consciousness, we can see things directly. Of course. Okay, there's a pen there, I can see directly. There's a flower there. There's flower that I can see directly. This is a sensory consciousness, which is also having the nature of clear and knowing. And then later on, as the mind becomes, as we remove the mental dirts more and more, then the purity of the mind comes out. Then with your mental consciousness, not only the sensory consciousness, even with the mental consciousness, we can see everything very clear. We can see every phenomena very clearly, directly. Yeah.
But again, I would still see the image in my mind.
So that is, we as the ordinary beings, say mind meaning mental consciousness. With a mental consciousness, I close my eyes, I think of my mother, I can just see the image as of now. And as my mind is more and more purified, then I can really literally see everything. This is when one is what is known as the clairvoyance. The other one is when your mind really becomes totally pure. When all the mental defilements are removed completely, then the mind can see every atom of the universe directly.
Okay. Thank you.
Welcome.
And Geshe, there are some questions here in the chat that I was asked to read for you.
Yes.
There is VK who is asking, do we divide the mind as conscious and unconscious in Buddhist psychology?
Okay, this is a good question. In fact, I may not touch otherwise. Thank you so much, whoever asked this question. Do we divide the mind into conscious and unconscious, the unconscious state? Too. Is this what happened? Is this what is done in the Buddhist psychology? This is a good question. So what I like to say strictly from the Buddhist psychology point of view, what we can say is that we can classify our mind in the form of a manifest state and a non-manifest state. So the manifest state, for example, say, okay, why did you ask this complicated question to me? So when I show anger, so anger is manifest. Whereas I like this question so much. Thank you so much. So there's no anger there. But say next time when the class is over, somebody says, what a stupid answer you gave. And I will become very angry. So this anger came from where? Earlier, when I was very happy, anger was not in a manifest state, but in a dormant state. So, say the anger in a manifest state and anger in a dormant state. Anger in manifest state cannot be with the compassion in manifest state. Compassion in manifest state and anger in manifest state too cannot coexist. Whereas anger in dormant state and the compassion in manifest state, these two can coexist. So when compassion is manifested, anger can still be there in the form of a dormant state. So dormant state of the anger can be what is referred to as the unconscious state of the mind, and the manifest state of the anger can be referred to as the conscious state of the mind. So this is a matter of the vocabulary. Otherwise, concept-wise, it's the same. Yes, that is there in the Buddhist psychology.
There's also another question which is from Laura Gibson, and it's that if the mind always remains clear, why would someone need to meditate on it?
Oh, very good question. Okay, let's say that I have a mirror. This mirror is very clear, yet I have an obsessive compulsive disorder, OCD. I have an OCD disorder. So I hold the mirror and I always keep doing like this. The mirror, simply because I'm doing like this, doesn't mean that the mirror has not become clear. It's still clear. The purpose of the mirror is to reflect, but the reflection, the clarity is the same, but the reflection is not steadily happening. I keep moving like this. Okay, now what I do is that I need to meditate to keep my hand steady, so that clarity will be visible. So the mind is the mind is clear. The only thing is that the mind, activities of the mind, that has to be controlled. The clarity of mind we cannot control. It does not need control. Activities of mind has to be controlled. So the tendency for somebody to make the diamond always into the Hitler statue all the time, so that has to be changed from making it into Hitler statue to a Buddha statue. Diamond remains the same. More questions?
Onko vielä kysymyksiä? Is there anyone else who wants to ask? Or shall we do the dedication?
There is one question. Okay, that is done.
Hello.
Okay. Yes. Anybody? Yes.
Hello.
Okay. Yes. Who is that?
Pranam. Namaste.
Yes. Namaste.
Please explain subconscious mind, about subconscious mind.
Okay. Actually, I won't use the word subconscious mind, but the meaning is much more the same. Because if I use the word subconscious mind, people can easily mix this up with the subconscious mind word used by Sigmund Freud. I don't want to mix up the two concepts. That's very important. Subconscious mind, in other words, what I said is that the mind in the non-manifest state or a dormant state of the mind. Dormant state of the mind, it is what we call as the imprints. Imprints, there are several terminologies. Imprints, latencies, predispositions, tendencies. These are the words we use for what can be more like equivalent of Sigmund Freud's usage of the word subconscious. So this is what the allergy. So what is that? This is like the imprint. For example, okay, the best thing that we can share, that I can share with you, is a rubber band. A rubber band, they say, which is just a small rubber band. Okay, my mask here, my mask. So this has rubber band there. This rubber band is let's say 1 inch, and I stretch it, it becomes longer. Then I release it, it again goes back. So the if I show this to you like this, if I show this to you like this, I ask you what is the length of this, you can say is 1 inch. And if I ask you, can this be stretched to 2 inches? You will say that I don't know, because you don't see the tendency. You don't see the tendency of this material.
Yes.
So you don't see the tendency, you see the material. So the material is the manifest form. Material is just 1 inch. But the tendency, you cannot see that. Only when I say that this is very different from this pen. This pen, say here, the width is, the length is just 1 inch. This I cannot stretch it, because this doesn't have the tendency to stretch. Whereas this rubber band has the tendency to stretch. So this tendency, although it exists, we cannot see it. So likewise, our mind, when I'm smiling at you, still I have the tendency for anger, right? So when you say that, Geshe, your answer doesn't make any sense, I may go into rage, I become angry. So this anger, this smiling face, smiling mind has a tendency to become angry. So that tendency, you cannot see it. You cannot see that. What you can see is the manifest form. So it has the tendency. Only if I get rid of this anger completely, no matter how much you they shout at me, insult me, criticize me, my anger will not erupt. There's no anger there. The tendency is removed. So this is known as the tendencies, or the predispositions, or the latencies. Or in a more loose sense, the mind in a dormant state, or the mind in dormancy. This is the what I can say, which is equivalent of the unconscious, subconscious state of the mind, according to Sigmund Freud.
Thank you, sir.
Welcome. Welcome.
And one more question here from Shulamit from Israel.
Yes.
Is the so-called remote control equal to the you, meaning equal to the mind? So is remote control equal to the you equal to the mind? Or is it different? Is it a different agent?
This is a good question. Thank you so much. This is a good question. Now, example is one thing. Example is to make us understand things easily. Meanwhile, we have to go back to the main point without compromising the main point. The main point is that, for example, you are meditating. What do you mean by remote control? It's not like external object, but let's say that the control. The remote control is the agent, the external object there, but what I meant is the control. Say we're meditating. While meditating, say I hear a sound. Oh, now there's somebody coming, then I stand up. Although I promised that I'll not get up till I finish my meditation, but there's no control there. The moment I hear the sound, I jumped. So there is lack of control there. Lack of control of the same mind. Which is meditating. And on the basis of this mind which is meditating, you without discipline, say Dorji without discipline. Dorji who doesn't have the discipline of meditation is posited on the basis of the undisciplined mind, the mind which cannot control itself. The mind hearing the sound, instantly the mind jumps. Mind makes the person jumps. Okay, so it is the mind, and this is the experiential. Let's say that some people, they meditate, and even if there's some are extreme. I know some people, they're extreme. They're in a meditation, even if a sick person comes, they will not attend to the sick person. I know that. This is one extreme. Some people, just a sound, knock, person jumps. These are the two extremes. So the Bodhisattva's path is where some knock comes to you. From the knock, you can sense that this urgent, not urgent. Not urgent, you don't just jump. You just sit in meditation. And from the sound, if you hear that, if you can sense that there's urgency, and particularly if you hear a cry or somebody who's desperate, the Bodhisattva will jump. Even if the person made the commitment that I will not stop this meditation till even if I'm hungry, even if I die, I will continue this meditation. But if you see that this person is in desperate situation, that person will just leave the meditation to attend to the needy person. So this is the Bodhisattva's skill. The skill in accommodating the other people according to the need. This is so important. So the point is that the remote control is also your mind when the mind is disciplined. When the mind is not disciplined, then we say that I don't have the remote control. When the mind is disciplined, you say that I have the remote control. It's not like the mind is different and the remote control controlling the mind is different. It's not like that. So the question is, this I. So we, in a very conventional sense, we speak about this mind being controlled by myself. Meaning that, okay, now I should keep meditating for the next 1 hour. No matter what happens, if it's just like a knock comes or the telephone rings, it doesn't matter. I just continue meditating. You are not disturbed you are not wavered by the external factors. This meaning of I having the remote control of my own mind. In other words, I have the control of my own mind. This is it. Okay, good question. Thank you. Okay, Mariela.
Yes, Geshe-la. So shall we take the break now?
Okay, yes.
And shall we do the dedication prayers?
Yes. We'll do a quick dedication prayer. Page 40, quick dedication prayer, which is on. The more detailed dedication prayer we'll do in the afternoon session. Quick dedication prayer, which is on page 49, I think. No, not 49. Okay, page 52. Page 52. Page 52.
How does it start, Geshe-la, the prayer?
It says dedication prayers. The title is dedication prayers.
Additional dedication.
Okay, it's not there. Don't worry. I'll recite it, and let us pray that all the people who died to this coronavirus, let us pray that they take a favorable rebirth of the rebirth in the human realm, and to meet with the dharma of bodhicitta, the dharma of the wisdom of emptiness, and then they become the beacon of happiness for all the sentient beings. And let us also pray that all those who are in the hospitals, in the ICUs, in the hospitals, because there's coronavirus and all other illnesses, may they soon recover from the illnesses, and they so happily join the family members, and everybody becomes so happy. And let us pray that the whole world, all the calamities, natural disasters, man-made, the problems, may all these come to an end as soon as possible. People, they get sense. The leaders who decide the state of the world, let them get this perfect sense of the harmony, perfect sense of sisterhood and brotherhood of all the humanity, and then all these unnecessary the problems, unnecessary clashes, unnecessary annexations, they all stop. And then all the people, they really get the fresh air to breathe. They breathe the fresh air of compassion, fresh air of relief, fresh air of tension-free. I dedicate the merit thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of 3 times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of scripture and insight. May I in all lives, through the force of this merit, never separated from the 4 wheels of the Mahayana vehicle, and accomplish all the stages of the path, renunciation, bodhicitta, perfect in the 2 stages. From my 2 collections, vast space that I've amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great length of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds, wisdom, eyes blinded by ignorance. Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisvatyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisvatyatha Om Gati Gati Paragati Parasam Gati Bodhisvaha. Okay, see you in the next session.
Thank you very much, Geshe-la. See you soon. And I will leave this event open so people can exit and enter as they please. And